So I warned my friend not to open a pastry shop without any experience. It's been a year now and he's struggling to make a turnover.
It's a good job I'm not there. You'd be struggling to breathe.
I thought it was going to be a pancake one.
No, it's okay. I could have said he was having trouble earning a crust, but there you go.
No, stick with the original.
Stick with the original. Okay, fair enough. Hello, everyone.
What a loaf of rubbish. What a loaf of rubbish.
Oh, God. Yeast gods. Anyway, no, I don't know. That doesn't work either. Stop trying.
Just stop trying.
Just roll with it. Just roll with it.
Just stop trying.
All right. Bake up. Start again. Oh, God, right. Okay. Anyway, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Dog episode 41. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
And I'm having a heart attack that our internet might have failed.
No, it's not.
You fucking massive gaps. What is this? Is this? I didn't know this was the Sounds of Silence by fucking Simon and Garfunkel. Jesus. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 41. Clearly, it's going to be one of those episodes. So this week we'll see how everyone's week's been, if anything has happened, and then we will move on to a little bit of feedback from last week's episode, and then we'll go on to this week's movie, which is Jim's choice, which was
Blue Ruin.
Yes, Blue Ruin, and so which is
hurty, ow my leg, as I think of it now.
yeah. I haven't seen that much self-harm and damage from tools since I tried to build a shed. So Blue Ruin, the revenge flick Blue Ruin, which is currently on Netflix. But anyway, before we get to that, we'll see how everyone's week's been, and we'll start off with you then, Jim. How's it been, sir?
Fairly quiet. It's been a very snowy week.
Mm-hmm.
Snow only melted yesterday after being, I've seen like 10 days. I'd got quite used to the world being white and being a polar explorer part-time going out with the dog.
Nice.
But it went from being like literally, most of last week it didn't even get above zero. Today, 10 degrees. It's like, whoa, weather whiplash.
Nice.
Although that's kind of like, sorry, I'm glad the snow's gone now. It just all got to the point where it was hard packed, frozen, and polished. So it was not sure it's going for a walk with the dog as going for a skate.
Oh God, yeah.
Interesting. But
yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So other than that, the other thing really to report is something sort of left over from the week before last, or the week before that even.
Mm-hmm.
Just some observations on doing your taxes online.
Oh, God. Okay, go on.
Now, when I became self-employed many years ago and started doing taxes online, they said, started doing my own taxes. They said, you can do your taxes online. They gave me a magic login number, the gateway code to get onto their site, which didn't fucking work. I requested the one. That didn't work. And so for the past 10 years, I've done a paper one.
Oh, God.
Instead, which is a lot easier, and I only had ever one problem with it, and that was where there was a smudge apparently on their copy which added an extra figure to my final amount, which meant I got a massive tax bill, and I said, that isn't what I declared, and then looking at, oh no, sorry, it was a mark on the copy, on the scan.
Nice.
But this year, I think partly through probably laziness and cutbacks, and also probably COVID, they said, no more paper returns, you all have to do it online. And it's kind of, oh, God.
Yeah.
So I went to the site, and it doesn't look like it was made in 1997 at a polytechnic now. So that's good. So I set up an online account, what's your name, where do you live? And so, you sent me the damn form.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But then you have to put in your passport number and then improve your identity 15 times over and answer stupid questions. It's like, I want to pay some tax. Do you care who I am? Really?
Yep.
Oh, no, I might put the return in, sorry, anyway. But I mean, you got it all set up fine. It all worked good. Did my tax return and then waited for them to process it. And they came back and said, all right, this is, you owe us this for national insurance, blah, blah, blah. Cough up by the end of January.
Yeah.
So I'd go back to log into my account. And now, normally, you these days, you just put in your password. You might have the old two-factor security and get a little code on your phone, like Mission Impossible to type in.
Yeah.
They said, we just need to verify it's you. And it's kind of,
Right.
really? I'm wanting to make a payment. Do you care? Apparently, yes. Okay. And I had to fill in exactly the same form as I had to set up the fucking account in the first place.
Oh, my God.
Literally. Not one single question less. In fact, it was all the same thing again. This kind of... do you want people to... I can see why there's so much tax evasion now. It's not people wanting to keep the money. It's people just can't be arsed with this fucking bullshit.
Do you get a free roll of red tape after you successfully manage to get through?
Oh, you should do. I mean, I've had previous problems I was getting problems with the paper returns, in fairness, because it listed some different ways you could pay. 2 of them had been phased out and were still on the form, several years running. You can pay at the post office. No, you can't. You've not been able for 2 years. I don't know why that's there. Like, fuck's sake.
Do you think there's a whole bunch of unpaid taxes all just sitting in an envelope in an unopened post box?
Quite possibly.
Nice.
I'm just wondering if that form was written by an employee last name Kafka. Something like that. It just sounds like something to be in a Kafka novel.
Yeah.
It is unnecessarily difficult, and it is kind of like, Jesus Christ. It's kind of... whoever's running the government, the HMR, website, doesn't really understand websites, and there's still the same person who's been in a job for like 20 years and he's still winging it.
Yeah. But
as nobody else understands computers, they're getting away with it.
Yeah. Dorothy's got a grandson who's big in computers, and he's almost made the GeoCity site. Yeah. And he comes round to the office once every 6 months.
Well, this is it. It was probably a little job he got when he was 16, 20 years ago. It's turned out to be a nice little learner for him now,
He still gets on the website using pipex.com.
I was half expecting to get the end of the form and find one of those little stickers that said, made on the back.
Compatible with Netflix Navigator.
This site is best used on Netscape.
Yeah, exactly. With one of those 3D... a 3D at symbol just rotating round and round as a little GIF.
Yeah.
Oh,
fucking incompetent, terrible. It really is.
Nice.
I mean, the thing is,
did it only accept a Yahoo Mail?
Oh, I mean, for years I heard about how terrifying the tax man is, and it's kind of like, this isn't terrifying. It's annoying, I grant you that. But if you want terrifying, fucking try filling in a form for job seekers allowance, and then you'll discover how bureaucracy can be ruthlessly efficient and pick you up for the slightest thing. And no money. Why? You put a dot there. You filled that one in blue ink.
Oh shit!
We want to see all your bank accounts and your wife's bank accounts and the bank accounts of people who live in the same house and the neighbours.
Exactly.
Not like taxman. How much did you earn? Was it that much? Yes. Do you want to see any books? No, not really. No one fucking pays any tax. It's a fucking farce. But yes, there you go.
Right. Well, there you go. So when are the HMRC coming round to kick your doors in because you haven't quite filled in the form right?
Oh no, I said that they're pussycats. Come back to the job centre. It's kind of yep. Is that your form? Yes, that's fine. Yep. Okay. You want some money? There you go. Have it.
Yeah.
Although it did amuse me. It's kind of I said like direct transfer from my bank may take HMRC 6 days to clear it. It's kind of, where's it going? It's left my account this second. Where the fuck is it for 5 days? Barbados on a cruise? For fuck's sake.
It's on a beach earning 20%.
Ridiculous. It really is.
Right, okay. So Jim's had a good week. Well, what about you, Elton? What about you, sir?
I had the terrifying ordeal of opening up computers.
Oh, yeah. Go on in.
So last week, there was a bit of a panic where it was discovered that my son's computer, who he's doing his A-levels online at the moment as well, and the computer goes real slow at times, especially when you're switching between either Word or something else, and then the internet. And you described it as, because I spoke to you about this, and worked out that it needs more RAM, because it's looking at something and going, yes, I am working on this. You are fine to use this, and then he's asking it to use another program, and it's like, well, hang on. Let me put this program down.
Put it in this folder.
Shuffle over here. I'm going to pick this one up. Here it is. I'm going to bring it over. And now we're working on this one. And by that time, it's like I've pressed the mouse button 1,000,000 times. I've typed T 1,000,000,000 times. I've tried to close it 4 times. And now I'm back on the other one. Hang on. I'll just put this one down. I'm going to walk back. Here we go. I've got the other program. I'm walking back. Here it is. Here we go.
That's it.
And so I purchased the RAM that you recommended because of all the numbers and stuff like that. I was a bit confused as to what happens.
Yep.
That's well easy. IT is like well easy and stuff. I changed that board in like 10 minutes. Easy, man. I can do that job.
Right. Okay. I told you it'd be easy to do that bit.
I took all the screws out.
Yeah.
I opened it up, and there was like 2 slots.
Yep.
One of them was empty, one of them was full. So I pulled out the 4 gig RAM, which it requires 3.9 gigs to run this computer.
Yes.
So they give us 4.
Yeah.
We're being generous here, guys. You bastards. And so pulled that out. Got the 16, slotted it in, bish, bash, bosh, put all the screws back in. It works beautifully. Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Then I grabbed that 4, I opened up my daughter's computer, and I put it in the slot next to it. She now has 8.
Oh,
excellent.
Nice.
So,
Good stuff.
IT, well easy. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
As long as there's someone on the other end of the phone, IT is well easy.
Is his computer running nice and fast now?
Yes, it is, yes.
I'm shocked. just so everyone knows, ladies and gentlemen, the PC was actually, it was using 3.9 gig just to run Windows.
Yep.
Wowzer.
So so opening up a half a meg's worth of Word document plus the app itself. Yeah, it weren't happy. Anyway, carry on.
Don't click on Notepad.
It was like that, yes, but it's they're both running sweetly, no problems since.
Nice.
So thank you very much for your assistance on that.
No problems there, dude.
What else? I think that is the highlight of my week. I'm not mentioning anything else which is going on at the moment. Just everyone keep fingers crossed. I hope you're all keeping fingers crossed for the last 6 months.
Yes.
So I'm sure you are.
Yes.
Yes, we are. And can I just ask, have you, has your Storm, have you been building anything in that, or have you just left that be?
I've left that at the moment because my computer cries out in pain every time I run it.
Oh.
I'm running it on my personal computer, which is not designed for that stuff.
You know what you need? You need RAM, mate.
I've got 16 in my computer.
But
RAM fixes everything.
Yeah, always does. More RAM.
Yeah, more RAM. My users in work tell me that all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
I think we need more RAM. Well, no,
Yeah.
there's flames coming out your fucking port on the side there. Unless the ram's coming with a bucket of water, I don't think you've really got much use for more ram. Somehow.
But RAM is like duct tape. If something's moving and you put the duct tape on it, you don't. It's not broken. It just needs more duct tape.
Mm-hmm.
It
That's
says
it.
my graphics card's broken. Do you think I need more RAM?
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But in this instance, he did need more RAM. So that's one thing I'm a bit worried about, because he's doing his A levels online now as well. So I don't.
But he's using cloud and OneDrive and all that sort of stuff. So it's all, as long as he's saving to that, he's fine.
I know, it's just I never experienced that at school, of having to spend all that time at home and working from home and not seeing your mates and stuff like that. It's weird.
Yeah, you should. My entire teenage childhood was all of that. Without lockdown. All I needed was a Commodore 64, land to the Jawas, and a phone hotline to the pizza company, and I'd be well away.
Well, everyone knows what the world is like at the moment. It's a bit weird, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I don't envy any of the kids out there doing what they're doing at the moment.
No.
It's good luck to everyone.
Yes, jolly good luck.
Yes.
Okay, anything else, sir? That's it?
No, that is it. That is your lot.
Okie dokie, then over to you, Mr. Barnard.
Yes. This week, what have I done this week? Well, I appeared on some bloke's podcast called The Shonky Lab, talking about computer games.
Oh, God.
This week. So,
Yes.
when is that being released, Elton, into the wild like a vicious animal?
That will be released in 2 weeks' time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There you
I'm
go.
putting a bit of lag on things, because I need to put a bit of lag on things, because things might be happening soon. So that will be on Patreon in a week or so, and then the following week it'll be out into the wild.
Nice.
Excellent.
Cool. So you're talking
there
about
we go.
so you're
So
talking
there's
about
that.
computer games, huh?
Yep,
Nice.
indeed. Carrying on, talking about that stuff in
Mhm.
it.
Okay.
And a lot of fun it was too.
Cool.
So there we go.
Mm.
So talking of computer games, this week I decided to go ahead and play Little Nightmares. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have. Go
Yeah,
on.
Little Nightmares, or this is a bit of a wrong 'un, in it. Because that's exactly what it is, right? The game, it's a game that's just incredibly wrong. It's just, it's good. It's frustrating as hell in places, and it gets a bit Twitch gamey in certain sections. The DLC that you can buy for it, which is very cheap, improves on it. But Little Nightmares. You play a character that I found out is called Six. Okay, it's a little girl who runs around in a yellow rain mac, and what she's trying to do is she's trying to escape from captivity, and it's as our best to describe what I see before me. It's a cross between. It's a cross between Tim Burton and Studio Ghibli. So it's very Spirited Away in places.
Yeah, and
Very
it's also,
Spirited Away.
It's also a bit Frankenweenie as well, isn't it?
It's sort of
Yeah, it's got that kind of.
it's
I was going to say it's got
there's
that.
no candy canes, thankfully.
No. It's a bit more. What's the other one? Paranorman. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually got a copy of that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have.
Paranorman.
Yeah, Paranorman.
Is that a film?
Yeah, Latka Studios, the people who did Kubo and the Two Strings, which is a very good film. We should have that one day. But
Looks
should,
a
we
bit
should.
like what's that haunted house film?
oh, Monster House
Monster House. Yeah, you go.
by Dan Harmon.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's right.
You get the impression that all the characters that are trying to stop Six from completing her mission of getting to where she needs to be are actually just wearing skin suits. It's like there's one bit where you have to go up, you have to get past this chef, right? Who's who's just chopping up meat, and he's like quite a deformed looking bloke. And you see him, you think he's like got a lot of saggy skin, and then you see him lift up his chin and put his hand up inside his face to feed the mouth that's underneath it. You don't actually get to see what's underneath it, but you get the impression that somebody's been kind of scooped out with a melon baller from that, and he's just wearing a human skin suit to cover up what he actually is.
Yeah.
Now, surprisingly, that isn't the wrongest thing about this, right? It's Six herself. Now, for anybody who wants to play it,
Yeah.
I won't give away too much at all. All I'll say is that as you play it, especially when you get to the final scenes, you realise how much of a wrong-un Six actually is in this. It's certain things she does to perform a certain action, and just when you think she's going to do one thing, she takes a bit of a right turn, and yeah. So I can't say any more than that. It's best to leave it. But I would encourage you to play the DLC that goes with it, because it does kind of explain one or two aspects of the game. I was upset by the end of the DLC. I really was, because I didn't see the end of that coming.
Upset angry or upset ninjas cutting onions?
It's kind of that. It's like, oh no. It's like, no. I was doing that for 5 minutes. No. It's when you realise where it's going, and it's like, it's wrong. Number 2, the second one has just come out, and apparently that's a better one. It's it's easier to control. But I get the impression that I've seen some clips from number 2, and it's even more wrong than the first one, I think. Personally, what I've seen. So,
what are you playing it on?
PlayStation's. It's out on PlayStation or Xbox.
Yeah, so I'm on the Xbox with it at the moment. It's out on just about every format, I think. I don't know if it's on Nintendo, but it's on the PC, it's on PlayStation, and it's on the Xbox as well.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's not a very long game, but I think if you were to play it without making a mistake, it wouldn't be very long at all. But
cool.
Yeah, there's at least a couple of days play out of that. So
yeah,
that's one to have a go of.
The trailer for the second one should give you a general vibe for what it's like, because there's a whole scene with hiding in a teacher's room, in a classroom. Yeah, from a teacher. That's quite. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
There's a lot of creepy elements in it. It's not so much. I don't know if it's scary, but it's definitely going to cause some heckles on the back of your neck to go up when you see some of the imagery from both games. You know,
cool.
No, but there you go. But I'm getting the impression that Little Nightmares is actually referring to the small children that you play in the game, rather than you having small nightmares during the night.
Yeah.
So there's that. And going from one wrong game to another one, I took it upon myself to download and play The Island. Okay, The Forest, which is the game that Elton played a few weeks ago. Right. They'll you know, a game is kind of, you know, somebody who's programmed it's probably had a bit of an experience in their life. I'm not quite sure what, but you know, a game is kind of off to a bit of a bad start where you suddenly stumble into a part of a cannibal's hideout called the Baby Cave.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, and you go, wow, why are there so many toys on the... Oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It goes there.
No.
Yeah, it does.
Does it go there in a road goes there, or in a road style goes there, or does it go there in a Doctor Who Stone Angels goes there?
It's it's kind of, it's not pulling its punches.
Okay.
This one, when they say you are on an island with cannibals and various other things, it ain't joking. Right?
Okay.
So I stumbled upon that because I was trying to avoid combat with two like cannibals that were near the entrance. I thought there's got to be another way round, and I just stumbled into this place. I think it actually says it on the map. It's called the Baby Cave.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, you just leave it there. I think we can all take a guess from here on in.
Yeah. But up to that point, it was kind of like, yeah, this is not bad.
Yeah.
You know, this is, I managed to avoid meeting the enemy for quite a while. I managed to build myself a hut and stuff on the beach, trying to stay out of the actual forest itself, keeping away from it. But unfortunately, a patrol ended up coming to my place. I'd managed to build a defence wall, so I hid behind that for a while. And I got overwhelmed in the end.
Yeah.
And that was when I woke up hanging like Luke Skywalker upside down in a cave.
Nice.
So yeah. So obviously the it's was it retrieving an axe from the chest of a dead air stewardess was not the wrongest thing about this game.
Oh,
and
right.
I at the beginning, that's where you get your weapon. You actually take it out the chest of the dead air hostess on the plane that's
Kind of
crashed
sets a tone, doesn't it?
on this island.
Nice.
Yeah, but then it's like the tone kind of drops off, as in, imagine you're standing near the edge of the White Cliffs of Dover and somebody puts a blindfold on you and says, just keep walking. Yeah, don't worry about it, it's fine.
You'll be
fine. And there's
fine.
that sudden, like, that falling feeling. You suddenly, that's how it goes.
Nice.
So, wow.
Okay. I
definitely not for the faint-hearted.
Okay. Okay. Whew. Okay. Well, anything else, sir? All good?
Yeah, I think that's about it, really.
Cool. Okay. Well, on my one will be pretty quick because nothing really much has changed from last week. I'm still playing Control, more about which we'll have in a minute because it's in the feedback. And I'm still watching The Expanse, so that's a positive. I'm still watching it. Cool. And yeah, I'm almost at season 3 now.
Right.
So that's getting along quite nicely. What else? Oh, and the Doctor Who rewatch continues apace. We've now broken into the first season of Peter Capaldi.
Blimey, okay.
And I'm surprised at how funny he is. I'm surprised at how funny they wrote him. Just the droll things. We literally just watched about half an hour before we started. Watched the Sherwood Forest one, the robot of Sherwood.
Oh yes, yeah.
And there's just a moment where they're breaking out, and he's literally got he's draped in chains with Robin Hood, and Robin Hood won't stop laughing, and it's been irritating him all fucking day because he won't shut up laughing. It's like, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Sort of thing. Anyway, it gets to the point where they're sneaking up these stairs, and the Doctor turns to Robin Hood and he says, we need to find a blacksmith's forge, And Robin Hood goes, what? So that we can break out of these chains? And the Doctor just looks at him and goes, no, I'm going to make an ornamental flower table. Of course it's it's just this kind of sort of cut them down, take no shit thing. I tell you what, I didn't appreciate it nearly as much as I do now. Especially going on after literally binge watching, mopey doctor and cheerful but sad doctor. Now we're just into grumpy doctor takes no shit doctor, and I quite like this. Yeah. I looked in a mirror. Have you seen that mirror? It's furious. So I'm loving all that. And that's about the size of it. That has literally been it for my week. Anything else isn't worth mentioning. There is some stuff going on at home, but that's, not really podcast material. And I'm the proud owner of. I've been trying to avoid having to turn the heating on. In these cold days, let's do 2021 heating chicken. And I've been putting on so many layers that Carol went and bought me a fleecy hoodie, or as she calls it, a moo-moo. It literally is. It's literally like someone's taken 10,000 otters and stitched them all together into what is essentially a duvet with arms, and it is. You would not be seen dead outside of the house with it. To be quite honest, you wouldn't be seen dead in the house with it because you just look like someone's just put a head on a teepee. But frankly, it's the warmest I've ever been. I'm wearing it right now, and it's gorgeous. But I tell you what, you feel like a bit of a knob, but it's lovely and warm. Oh, I'm loving it.
That's when you know you're old, mate. I'll tell you that now. When warmth is more important than your appearance. I'll tell you.
Dude, it's always been that way. Have you not seen me?
Functional, not fashionable.
Functional, not fashionable should be my fucking biography.
Yeah, well, can you sum them up in 2 words? Yeah, functional,
functional,
not fashionable.
Fashionable. Yeah. So that's that. So I'm nice and warm and toasty, and and there will be no photos, and no, I will not be posting anything on the Facebook group of me wearing this thing, and neither will Carol. He says, side-eyeing her from across the room. So anyway.
Picture of Homer Simpson in his movie suddenly appears on his Facebook wall.
Yeah. Well, if you see anything that looks like, I don't know, like that sort of what's the gorilla shot from the proof of Bigfoot, the Bigfoot tape. Yeah. If you see anything like that,
it's like that.
Yeah, it looks like that. It literally looks like that, but with a hoodie instead of a monkey face. Though some would say I've got a monkey face as well to go with it. So I'll complete the collection. There you go. Beautiful. So anyway, right. So that's my week. Literally nothing's happened. I mean, if it comes to it that a furry moo-moo is your big highlight, then you really got to get out of the house. For fuck's sake. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the feedback. We had a little bit of feedback last week. We did review the film Sorry to Bother You, and I mentioned Control last week, and the first thing that came up was that Chris Johnson said that after the mention last week of Control and how I think it was you, Darren, or was it? No, it was you, Jim, who mentioned it. It sounded like The Lost Room.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, Chris Johnson has said Lost Room is a show that needed a second season. But please don't buy the DVD, as it only plays on one of my DVD players, and it crashes my PS4 when it tries to read the disc. And he's actually posted a picture of the actual thing, The Lost Room. Peter Krause, Julia Margulies, L. Fanning, and Kevin Pollak. And it's apparently gripping and engrossing, according to the People newspaper and Nuts magazine. So there you go. So more you know. Anyway, the next thing, Mike Byrne, following on from our talk about Snatch, our review of Snatch, he posted up a YouTube video of Bricktop being a plumber, bullying a washing machine into working. Which I think that's all you need to. I think that's all you need to see. Really, you just need to see it now. You don't want to end up on a scrap heap now, do you? And that's quite amusing. So do check that out. That's on the Facebook group. And lastly, we were talking about Sorry to Bother You, and we had David Giacola, sorry, of the Inside Out cast, and he wrote because we were talking about the voice changing and all that kind of thing. We were talking about that, and he wrote, I don't know if you have this phrase in the UK, but we call the voice changing, we call it code switching. It is a means of communication in which black Americans switch from one sort of speaking style to another. That is, from how they would speak to family and friends, switching to professional speech in an office setting. It sounds like White Voice was a satirical exploration of this, among other things. It does sound about like that, but I think we've all got that kind of thing, haven't we? I mean, let's be honest, I'm talking in what some of my family refer to as my podcast voice. Because when I'm in the pub or not at this microphone, I'm not necessarily as clear as this. So maybe I'm doing it as well. Maybe we're all doing it.
We all do it. We all have that posh auntie that we have to speak to every now and again.
Yeah,
and that voice comes out, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
You have the other voice a lot of people have when they need to talk to builders. Mechanics.
You're right, mate.
All right, mate. You seen the tits on that Skoda? Yeah. Hey. How about that football last night?
So, John, what's the damage?
Geezer.
Straight up.
Fella.
Straight up, geezer.
Yeah. So, mate, what are we looking at here? What's going on? All right. You. Yeah. So, those grommets out, are they? Oh, you know what I was saying to the missus the other day? Oh, yeah, geezer. Anyway, yeah, probably. Also, we did have another piece of feedback, which was from the Maniac Cop, and he just wrote to say, you recently mentioned Bone Tomahawk and Synchronic on the show. You really need to check out the movies of these other directors the films that they've made, as they're all great. Special mentions go to Brawl in Cell Block 99, starring Vince Vaughn.
I've seen that.
Yeah? Any good?
It's not Sunday viewing, chill out time.
No? Okay.
Let's put it like that. That is... That can get pretty...
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Maniac Cop continues. This was S. Craig Zala's next film after Bone Tomahawk, and I guarantee all four of you doggers will absolutely love this one. And then 2 thumbs up. So we might have to stick that on the docket somewhere. But I think we already have something set up for this week, so we'll have to circle round to that next time. Another time, rather, sorry. So, that's it. That's the feedback. And if anybody else would like to send feedback in, whether it's for this episode, the last episode, or as we've seen on the Facebook group, Mike Byrne posting up about Snatch and putting Bricktop shouting a washing machine into submission, then, do send it in. Send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or put it on Twitter, where I am occasionally seen to be moaning, and that's at Black Dog Podcast, and then over on the Facebook group, which is the facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. Right, so that's that. That's all done, and now it's time for our movie, a film that I don't think any of us have seen, Blue Ruin. Let's get the tools, and we'll see you on the review. Roll the jingle.
Ooh, we're watching a new movie we've never seen before. I'm buttering my nipples and waxing my ass. Roll up the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up
Masturbation.
for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. The Mystery Monica film is waiting for us to hit play. Going to watch it today, what will we say? Hey Pablo, I need a heroin needle and a watermelon.
Right, okay, so Blue Ruin is a 2013 American thriller film written by Jeremy Saulner and starring Macon Blair. The film premiered at the Cannes Film Festival as part of the Director's Fortnight section on May the 17th, 2013, where it won the Fabrisky Prize, which is the International Federation of Film Critics Prize. Ooh, very prestigious. The film was funded through a successful Kickstarter campaign. And it is what MTV called a perfect example of what crowdfunding can accomplish. The plot involves Dwight Evans, played by Macon Blair, living as a beach vagrant who learns of the murderer of his parents has now been released on a plea from jail and vows revenge. That's all we're going to say about the plot, because I think we will be spoiling it. So if you haven't seen the film, do back off now, because it's worth just seeing blank as a blank can be. The film had, from Kickstarter, a budget of $420,000. How much did it make at the box office, Jim?
7 million.
Okie dokie, Darren.
Oh, I think 8 crossbow bolts and a packet of Elastoplast.
Nice. Elton.
He nicked my one. Son of a bitch.
Nice.
What shall I have? A soggy sandwich from a crappy diner.
Ooh, nice. Well, actually, it only earned $1 million. Well, actually, $993,000. So, technically, profit. It doubled its money, but not as much as I thought it would get. Apparently, it's still earning money, obviously, on video on demand release, which it got in 2014, and was later released on home video. So it's probably earned more money since, but it didn't make that much money. So, yes, this was Jim's choice. So we'll ask you last, Jim, what you thought of it. But let's go around the table. Quick top line review. And what did we think of it? So we'll start with you, Darren. What did you think, mate?
Yeah, I liked it. It's I thought it was a good film, and it's very kind of reeled in type way. I thought it was quite realistic of how somebody who's not a professional assassin would actually go about conducting an assassination of somebody they really wanted dead. Because there's an awful lot of mistakes made by said individual at the beginning.
Yeah.
More out of anger and grief than anything else.
But,
so,
yeah,
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Cool. Okay. And what about you, Elton?
What did I think about this?
Yes.
This was... This is one of them little gems that you very rarely come across. Mm-hmm. This was an absolute peach of a diamond of a film, I thought. Mm-hmm. I thought it was stonking. I thought it delivered. I wasn't expecting anything from this. And I like the little indie vibe that comes along with it as well. Very quiet in most of the time running through this film. But when it wants to hit you, it hits you hard as well. And I cannot recommend this highly enough.
Cool, okay. And for me, I'll just echo those sentiments. It for me was one of those films which you don't get you don't find them much anymore, because they don't find their way out of the quagmire of hundreds of straight to Netflix kind of films. It seems like every time you look on Netflix, there's 10,000 horror films and, 40,000, here's a beach babe on the front cover, but what's the story about? Fuck knows. It's got a beach babe on the cover. Yay! So you don't find these kind of movies anymore, and the little indie thriller, it reminded me of things like The Hitcher and films like that where you didn't hear about them until you just sort of discovered them randomly in the video shop. You know,
Yeah.
so like the Hitch is one because that's what I did. I found that by accident, or El Mariachi, or
Blood Simple.
Blood
the Coen
Simple,
Brothers first.
yep,
was
that's
another
it.
one. That's what I'd thought of.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not in terms of the content. I mean, obviously, but it's just that whole idea of just sort of you have no idea what it is. You just pick it up off the shelf and then you go, "Bloody hell! I've scored there. That's a winner." And so, yeah, I was quite impressed with it. But we'll talk more about it in a minute. But Jim, what about you?
I really liked it. I thought it was kind of just a very sort of clever take on the revenge thriller. And to echo what Darren said, I liked the realism because it's. I think it's a classic film that plays on. If it was you, how would you do it, Sunshine?
Yeah.
And it really sort of does a good job, I think, of putting you in that sort of driving seat and pulls you along for the ride like that. But I like the fact, and not to go into it too much here, but I think it had a lot to say about the whole business of revenge.
Yes.
And the actual reality of revenge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's carry on with that. I mean, what did you all think about it as a revenge plot? Because normally you see these kind of things, and I mean, like I say, if you're still listening to this and you haven't watched the film, spoilers ahead because we've got to talk about it. But what did you think about the sort of the way it did that revenge plot? Because we know how these things usually play out, and this film kind of inverts that. I think. In that,
I think.
Yeah, go on.
I think there's a little bit of the. It's like mob mentality, where somebody makes a suggestion and the whole mob is like, "Yes, kill them, hang them up." There's kind of something like that in this. Obviously, the crime itself wasn't committed by the first person he killed. It was committed by the father, and there's that bit where he says, "Yeah, the person that murdered your parents lived out his life. He watched his favourite programs, didn't go to prison, died on his own terms, blah blah blah." So it's that. I don't know. It's when he finds out that wasn't the guy that killed his parents.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, does that make me any better than?
Yeah.
It's that. I don't know if that goes through the character's mind, but it's like, shit, I just killed him. I just went off and I did the business.
Yeah, it's the cycle of revenge, isn't it? That's the main thread throughout the whole thing. But I was talking more about that. We'll get to the dad bit in a minute. But I have to say, I was like, but I mean, I'm talking about the fact that when you see revenge films, like or films where it's one man against people who have done him wrong, usually there's that build up, and this is going to sound really odd, but it's almost like Avengers Endgame, where you think that the whole film's going to be them getting back at Thanos, and then within 5 minutes of the film starting, they've killed him, and we're just like, oh, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Like, we got 2.5 hours of movie and the fucking villain's dead. and this literally does exactly the same thing. And it obviously did before, but, and it's that whole idea. Usually you see you think, oh, okay, he's going to follow this person, he's going to plan his revenge, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's going to work it all out. And, like, within 5 minutes, he's like, oh, he stabbed him in a toilet. That's the end.
Yeah, he's done him.
He's done him. Oh. And I was just wondering, like, how you guys felt when that happened, because obviously, to me, I was like, oh, where do we go from here? It's like,
oh,
yeah.
It's like a knockout in round 2 of a boxing match. You're like, oh, hang on, I paid for 12 rounds. Thank you very much.
The biking goes down in the 4th.
But I didn't really have that type of feel. It's got a vibe of there's more to this than meets the eye. It's like when I was watching it, it reminded me of the films that we've watched: Session 9, Kill List, Dead Man's Shoes.
What was on with Paddy?
Yeah,
Paddy
that's the one. That's the
Considine,
one. Yeah, Dead Man's Shoes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
And they're all great movies. And I didn't have a clue what was going on in either of them until right at the very end. I think Kill List, I was kind of working out. I didn't want what was happening in that to happen, but I was like, I think I know what's going on there. But this had that. It had that vibe about it. It was dark. It was gritty. There were people getting injured and just carrying that for the rest of the movie. You don't normally have that. Someone will get shrapnel or shot and then they'll walk it off. You're like, oh, that's all right. It's only a bullet. What are you moaning about? I don't care. But this, it's injury after injury after injury as well, and stupid little injuries like when he cuts his hand. It's a needless injury, but it's there for the rest of the film. But as the revenge side of things, I always thought there was going to be lots more. And I think I wasn't really worried about the revenge. I was just enjoying that movie for it being so bloody quiet in the very first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I think there's like a couple of sentences said, and that is it.
Yeah.
And there's something about that where it's building up the atmosphere, and it's saying to you, don't expect too much, but when it comes, be ready for it. It's laying it out nice and quiet. Enjoy this because it's going to get rough later on. And it does. But with the revenge, I don't know. It was so quick. I think in this movie they do the actual action when they have it. It's real slow pace. It's really creepy, really slow, really tense. Builds up, and then all of a sudden, bang, flash, wallop, it's gone. And it's done with.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah, the bursts of violence are they're shocking because of the silence that leads before it. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think the damage that Dwight goes through all the way through this is there before he even starts, because he is a damaged person right from the start. That's what I found interesting about this, and like I say, feel free to chip in if you feel there's anything go with this. But that the film presents a man who's already been damaged by this whole thing.
He's homeless Paul McCartney.
Homeless Paul McCartney. And then he turns into that guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I couldn't work out who. I kept thinking,
for God's sake, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I can't remember his name. Anyway, but yeah, so what I thought was really interesting was the fact that because it was so quiet, that you feel like the whole thing's just it's the final act of something. Because he's lost everything from the start. He's got nothing actually going for him. He's literally just waiting for this one last attempt to do some, take some revenge, get some peace, and finish the cycle.
This is the final act of his life, and it's kind of warning you to that already, isn't it? He's eating out of rubbish cans and sleeping in his car that he's had for absolutely years. The patina on it is, it's beautiful, but it is knackered. He's got a tent over his car as well. It's just, he's living
his
the
car is
crap
the
life.
Blue Ruin.
Yeah, actually, that is true.
Oh, yeah.
And it's his parents' car. It's the car his parents died in.
Yeah. See, I didn't get that. I didn't get that his parents died in that car.
Yeah, because it was kind of, the car had been left to him. And that was the only thing he sort of took from the estate. And his sister has the spare keys.
That was that 1990 Pontiac
Yep.
key fob that he found,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you also get kind of where he's bumming out, as it were,
Yeah.
the seaside town? That's the seaside town they used to go and visit as a family.
Yeah, I got
As his
that,
childhood, and that's
Mm.
It's really. I was wondering why is it called Blue Ruin, and about halfway through, it was Therese who was saying, "Do you see the bullet holes in the car? That's the car they died in." Like, yes, of course.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
it all fits. Yeah,
Genius. Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, that's now that's perfect. Show don't tell. That's perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
I admire
Show
this
don't
film.
tell and wait until Jim tells you. Type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, but the thing is, it's funny you mention it, but I do remember seeing the bullet holes, and I just thought that was like, because you know when you see, sometimes you see in these American films, you see like rundown cars, you know, and hillbillies have been taking pot shots at it for the last, and I didn't equate the two, that you know the shots and the bullet holes and his parents' death were the same thing. Because it never really tells you how they died, does it? He just he killed them. That's about all we know. But
yeah. There's a line that she wasn't supposed to be in the car with him. That they originally only meant to kill the father, and his mother was collateral damage.
that's right. It's said by was it Dwight? Not Dwight. Wade.
Teddy.
Teddy. That's it. Teddy
Yeah.
in the trunk. Oh,
Teddy in the trunk.
Teddy in the.
No one puts Teddy in the trunk. Oh shit, you did. Fuck.
Yeah,
Ted 3 for you.
Teddy in the trunk. Yeah. But I mean, okay then. So that's pretty cool. I obviously, I mean, I got certain. I should have really figured it out when he got into their house at the end, and he's opening up and he's going through the photo album, and it's like they're gun nuts, not just the guns that he's taken off the wall. But like, there's photo albums of like, you know, baby's first steps, and then there's like, oh, and here's my collection of automatic rifles, and oh, here's my favourite dog, and oh, here's a shotgun. It's like, what the fuck? These people clearly were bad news.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit. But okay then. Well, what about the character himself? What about Dwight? I mean, how did you feel about him? I mean, because to me, he's one of those characters that you're imprinting things on. He doesn't really actually give anything back to you other than just deep sadness. But I just want to know how you guys felt about him.
Well, I this is obviously a man who's been scarred by that event, which made him, you know, him going off and just being sort of, you know, choosing to be homeless. That's it. He just went off to be, you know, he didn't want to be part of society anymore. That's it. That's how damaged he felt from this whole thing. So I don't know. You feel for him because of what happened to his parents. Yeah, because he's believed that the person that did it is being released from prison. He doesn't know any better. And it's obviously profoundly, you know, really had so much of an effect that he's willing to commit a murder for it. To equal that. And he doesn't care once, that's the thing, once it's done, he doesn't care about being caught. You know, he's willing to just let himself get taken in after that. It's that all-encompassing sense of wanting to put that right, that the only thing that you feel is good enough in this situation is taking a life. And that you hope that that is going to stop the demons from, you know, in your head.
Yeah.
It's, I feel for him. I didn't like any of the people he was trying to take out. They kind of justified their hatred, and especially when his sister said they all deserve to die. You know, because they're not very nice people. They're just horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
You know?
I was going to say, I mean, did anyone feel, I mean, with the other family, I mean, we only really get, out of any speaking parts, we really only get the two female characters who I believe are the sisters, and then that young boy who ultimately gets Dwight in the end. But I mean,
see, that's a different story altogether as well, isn't it? The boy,
That's his brother.
that's his brother-in-law,
His half-brother,
half brother,
yeah, which is kind of weird. Which is kind of a weird thing because it's like that, for it kind of. I don't know how best to put this, but it was kind of like, to me, that was the one thing where it's like the cycle of violence. The Wade kills his parents, so he kills what he thinks is the right person, Wade, and then it's like, and then they go after him, and he has to then go after them, and the one thing I was wondering by the end of it was, would that young kid go after his sister? And I'm guessing the implication you're supposed to take away is no, because he didn't want to be a part of it at all, and he walked away. He walked away right in the middle of the fight. But on the other hand, it's another one of those, well, he's now seen violence, and does that violence beget other violence? Because the story's told you all the way through that that's what happens, So, I mean, what do you guys think? What about you, Elton? What do you think about it?
I think he puts the gun down as he's walking away, and Dwight tells him to put the gun down, wipe it down, and then clear off. The keys are in the car. He does that. That might. He might go back and seek revenge at some point later on. I'm not too sure, but the way I take it is that he left it there. He saw the families feuding constantly. He saw people getting hurt constantly. He saw the death of all the family, and absolutely and totaled out. Now there's no one left on that family, and he's rejected that and gone off. So I'd like to think there is a little ray of sunshine there that he's decided, no, let's not do this. Otherwise, I think you would have seen him. He would have been knocking on the door of the sister's house, or the family house.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I like to see it. Just quickly going back as well on the actual main character as well. He's one of these people that, you're right, you can put your own impressions onto him. He's like a blank canvas for you to fill up. He is a picture, but you have to do the colouring to work it out, and all the colouring happens in your mind as to what is this character actually feeling, how is he feeling.
Yeah.
But the way that he's portrayed, I think, is fantastic, because there's moments where he's no superhero whatsoever. He's just a man who's had absolutely everything ripped away from him. And he has them moments of, I'm actually going to do this, aren't I? And do I want to go through with this? And that moment when he's in the stall of the toilets, and he's like, it's here. It's actually happening now. And he gets that moment, and he takes that moment as well. So he has got this. He can go through with these missions that he sets himself. I also like to think of, when he's turning taps off.
Yeah.
There's a couple of instances where he turns a tap on and off. Turning the tap off, he's kind of like that mission is over now. And he turned the tap off when he killed Wade. And he also turned the tap on when they were coming back for revenge, and then he went back to the house and turned the tap off again. So there's little things like that, of little sections of his life that he's now stopping.
Oh, so so you're saying it's symbolic of him just turning off the rage, or
kind of, yes, a little bit, yeah. Because there's a moment at the very beginning where he's having a bath in someone else's house.
Yes,
and you hear the tap running, and then it stops, and then the family comes in, and then he gets out. I don't know quite what that means, whether that's an actual meaning or whether that's just leaving you, look, we've played the tap, you don't know about it yet, but that will mean something later on.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I wonder, yeah, because there's a whole, because there is that whole thing of him constantly going for a wash and constantly trying to wash himself clean. I mean, again, you can see that as just him just taking a wash, but the fact that they keep focusing on it, you don't. You wonder if he's just trying to clean himself of his,
of his sins, or his thoughts, maybe the dirty thoughts that he's having of destroying this whole family. But yeah, I think he's a great character, but no superhero. And I like that he's no superhero. He can get hurt. He has worries. He has the weight of the world on his shoulders, absolutely constantly throughout this movie, and you feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? What do you think about his sister as well? I mean, who was going off to, going to hide away in Portland. I mean, obviously she's affected by it as well, which I thought was kind of interesting the way they portrayed that she doesn't even question where he's gone or anything like that. She's just like,
Do you know what? There's a refreshing thing that in that where his sister is concerned, where most of them be like, no, don't do it, think of being better and whatever. And she turns around and did you make him suffer when you killed him? Did he feel pain before he left? And it's like you can see, it's nice, it's good to see that it's quite a very realistic again, a very realistic portrayal of
real revenge,
of hurt, of anger that her parents have been taken away from her so early. And it was like, why did you feel the need to kill him? There was nothing that he did that he deserved to die for. Yeah, he had an affair with your mum, but that doesn't mean to say he needed to lose his life.
Yeah. What about you, Jim? What do you think about all this?
I think he's a very interesting character because I think I've moaned before. It's one of my old man rants, but I think in the last 10 years, thanks to suddenly everyone watching American TV, we've got a very television attitude to characters. Yeah. And that's kind of, good things have to happen to the characters we like, and they have to stay in the show, and everyone has to be nice and have to want to be their friends. And that's fine for weekly television shows, but some stories, the appeal of a story is taking you into somebody else's life, into somebody else's mind, somewhere you don't want to be, someone you might not particularly like. Yeah. But that's the magic of storytelling, that it can put you in someone else's shoes. I think this is a good thing because it kind of, you think he's going to be the revenge hero, and he's going to have a shave, and you'll find I have a certain set of skills. Yeah. No, he doesn't. Yeah. He was nobody, you know what I mean? He's a broken man. And although you kind of think, I don't think you can judge him because you don't really know enough and understand enough, and you can't imagine how broken you are where you think, I'm going to go and be a hobo. Yeah. That's pretty severe, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you can kind of, he does things right. He's almost sort of been lying dormant. Yeah. He's buried himself away like he's buried the car. It's like that car, at first you think it's just some wreck he's dossing in. But it's not. It's his car. The battery's in an oilcloth. Yeah. Is a toolkit. Is ready to go when he needs it. You know what I mean? It's kind of... I admire that kind of resilience. Yeah. You know what I mean? There is that kind of like, oh my God, kind of... He might be broken, but there's a strength to him, and you know what I mean, an order in the chaos, which is kind of admirable, but also very sympathetic, very sort of. It's a point of human connection. Kind of, Christ, you're holding on to these little things. That's what's keeping him going from completely burning out. I mean,
I think the car's a metaphor as well. He's living inside the car. This is the car his parents died in. And it's something it's a memory that's held him back. It's an experience that's stopped him from progressing as a human being. It's, he's living inside that car. He's living inside that grief.
Yeah, and he can't get rid of it either, because even when he leaves it behind and nicks their limo, they come after him in it and leave him with the car, don't they? They literally
they do.
He literally comes back to him with them in it. You know what I mean? It's like, the guilt, the shame, the fury, the everything comes back, and with the people who instigated all those problems, in the symbol of his parents' demise. It all comes back trundling up the road and parks outside his house, even when he's trying to put on a facade of normality, by having a shave and a wash and putting on a shirt. And
he did seem disappointed that he'd lost it, though. When he mentioned, I think it was to his sister that he said he lost the car, and he seemed, there was a tone of regret in his voice. Yeah. Now, the way he's acted, I don't know. I apologise. I don't know the actor himself, but he has got some great delivery in this. There's a moment when he's talking to his sister, and he tells him that he killed Wade. And he just does that lean in, and there's a tiny little smirk, as if I've completed that mission, but also regret, and I shouldn't have done this, and testing the water with his sister. And it's all at the same time. You're like, I don't know how to feel about that. It's there's so many emotions just bubbling underneath. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, going on with the thing that Darren was saying about, the sister leaning in going, did you make him suffer? It's interesting that his whole thing in the cafe, which is that kind of smirk, upset, calm, nervousness, kind of freaking out slightly thing. What's really interesting about that is, in any other movie, in any other revenge flick, and this goes back to my first question, which was, how it's inverted everything. Normally, by the time you hit the end of one of these revenge flicks, you usually get the sort of like, no, I will not kill you, and throw the gun away, and then the bad guy picks the gun up, and then it turns out that your hero's got a gun somewhere else and shoots him.
Yeah.
And usually it's seen as death isn't the answer. You've got to, this nonsense has to stop somewhere, and I'm stopping it here, sort of thing. And in this case, it was a case of, well, it's not going to question that. It's going to just treat people like they're real people, which is they're sloppy and messy, and they don't think things through, and they want revenge, so they're going to just go and get revenge and be damned the fucking consequences. And it's only towards the very, 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 very end that he realises that it has to stop. But it can only stop with him and them. It can't. It can't be him walking away, because if he walks away, well,
there's something left.
There's something left dangling. And so that's why I was saying that the film feels like a third act, because it feels like he realises that, and I think he even says it, doesn't he? He says, this has to stop. This has to stop here, or something like this. And he's willing to come in and, basically be killed. But, he needs to make sure that his sister's safe.
Yeah.
And it is that whole thing of, it's only at the end where he realises it has to stop, but it doesn't end with the kind of, no, I'm better than that. I'm better than you.
Martha.
Yeah, Martha. Why you say that name? But, yeah, and I thought that was a very interesting and kind of, a more honest take on those revenge films. It was the fact that it literally turns around and he goes, you know what? Yeah, your Charles Bronson or your Clint Eastwood or your fucking, even as far as Luke Skywalker, we'll get to the point of getting the bad guy down and then going, no, throw the weapon away. I will not kill him.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm better than that. I'm not the one for revenge. And it's like, well, the whole fucking film's been about that. Why aren't you now? Why have you suddenly changed your mind?
And he doesn't know how to use weapons or anything like that. He doesn't play with guns. And he has to visit his mate that has the guns as well. By the way, did you know who his mate was?
Go on.
Yep. Buzz from Home Alone.
What?
That's Buzz from Home Alone.
Buzz from Home Alone?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who played Buzz in Home Alone.
Macaulay Culkin's brother in Home Alone.
Oh, my God. Okay. Well,
I looked it up because I thought he looks. You see the old picture of him, it's like that looks like Buzz from Home Alone.
Buzz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a pity. He should be mates with Kevin McAllister because he could have fucking pimped out that house when they were coming to get him like nobody's business.
Yeah, that would have done it, yeah. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, Buzz from Home Alone. Buzz McAllister. There you go. Fucking hell. Things you learn, eh?
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, that explains it. That explains the psychopathic streak and being able to shoot someone with a single shot from from half a field away.
There just weren't any paint tins around.
Yeah, exactly. There was no bowling balls on strings, otherwise he would have had him out.
Yeah. But yeah, he doesn't have any skills or anything like that. He hasn't got a certain set of skills that he can refrain from his previous life where he's been taken out, and he's not a secret assassin or anything like that. He's I don't even know what his job was before this, but he's a photocopier. There you go. That's what he should have been in his life.
A photocopier.
Not an actual photocopier. A man that puts the stuff on there to photocopy.
Okay.
yeah.
The photocopier's out for revenge. Cyan Empty. The sequel to Blue Ruin.
Oh dear. But he hasn't got them skills, so he has to be taught that as well. And it's very realistic of him not holding a gun correctly, etc. Especially when he's getting that guy out the boot, and he takes him a few seconds to think, right, here we go. I'm set. I've got everything. I know I've still got like damage to my leg and stuff like that, but here we go. And then presses the boot release and then runs round there. It's he's very clumsy in certain aspects as well.
He doesn't listen to that one piece of really good advice that his mate gives him as well.
Yep.
Which is, look, this is personal, and that's going to be your downfall. No speeches, just kill him. What did he do at the end?
Yeah.
Made a speech.
Wasn't that speech from fucking Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
No idea.
It was Eli Wallach, wasn't it? Like, no speeches, no talking, just shoot. I'm pretty sure that was it. Anyway, it did seem familiar. Anyway, maybe it's not. I don't know. But I have to say that the whole was it? You missed him from 2 foot. You missed him with that gun from 2 foot. Man.
Oh, that was amazing when he shot, and he's like, basically turned around and saying, "I'm a fish in a barrel. You miss me." It's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, to me, this film was a really smart, tight, tense little film. I was dead impressed with it. I have to say. I mean, all the performances were spot on. It could have gone into usual shooty bang bang. I thought it was when he walked over to the house at the start of that whole siege thing, and I thought it was just going to be him walking around the house going bang 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 bang, and then it was like, no, actually we're going to spend 25 minutes of just him sitting there watching the light come on with a timer and going off with a timer and taking a piss on someone's grave and then walking back out and taking care of lunch, and it's just like, wow. I was surprised at how restrained it was.
I think it plays some sort of clever sort of little tricks with your expectations. It's like when he gets the arrow in the leg. And I'm sure everyone's going, "Oh no, you idiot! You're going to saw off the bolt."
Yes,
it's a moron. But actually, he's doing what you should do, and that's, if you was a medic there, that is what they do. They cut off the bolt first, and then. But he does it because he's got an extra reason. He has to be able to cover it up, to go to the store, to get the scalpel, to get the rubbing alcohol, to get the stitching, to get the pads, so he can try and take it out.
Yeah.
And he's doing it by the book, but of course, this is real life. It's like Rambo, where I get a fishing hook out my boot and stitch myself up. Fuck off.
I get a
you passed out with shock, and then you'd be in the cells being cornholed by those cowpoke sheriff's men before you could say, fuck you. Whereas this is, you have that brilliant thing. You see him doing it. The next scene, he's going to the ER room, and he has that brilliant line. He's kind of, "I've had an accident on my leg," and just falls over.
Yeah, I've had an accident.
Oh, Vec, I fell.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing that keeps you with him, isn't it? It is the fact that he is so hapless. You know, he's just he's got the right idea and the right. You kind of think he's going to be doing the right thing, but after a while, it becomes very, very clear that he hasn't got the first fucking clue.
And he's stuck in real life. It's not kind of, you know, that the boot opening thing.
Yeah.
You've got to open the boot somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you go and put the keys in, that guy's going to hear it. He's going to come out like a fucking homicidal Jack in the Box.
Exactly.
And so you end up doing this fucking very undignified press the button and quickly run round. But that's real life. In action movies, they gloss over that shit. Like, you know, no one has to reload. No one's eardrums burst because someone just fired a fucking Mach 10 next to their head.
Yeah.
They just have a little fly through the air when there's an explosion behind them. And they get up again, rather in real life, they don't get up again at all because they're shitting out their guts that have been jellified.
Yeah.
So I've said it quite a few times on the commentary club when we did violent, nasty films. I always say that the thing with my issue with violence in movies, I think the harmful violence isn't the gory stuff. It's the A-team bullshit. It's the action film bullshit. Yeah. It shows you violence without consequences.
Yeah. And this film is all about consequences. In fact,
absolutely,
the majority of it is consequence, isn't it?
It's all just a massive chain of dominoes from a big fuck you set of dominoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's the killing of Wade as well. And any other movie, he would have been down and out, sneaking out like a stolid snake, and no one would have known.
Yep.
Now, granted, no one knows until very late on, but the attack on him is instant. He gets him, but he doesn't do the job.
Yeah.
And then I was taken aback when he did actually kill him. It was like, oh shit, you did that. Oh, Christ. And then the guy's twitching on the floor, eyes blinking and stuff. Oh, it's creepy as anything. But like Jim, as you said, there's consequences. You know, it's not gone to plan. It's not a thought out thing. It's like me playing football. I know what I want to do in my head, but transferring that to my feet are two totally different things.
Yes.
And it doesn't quite work as what I think. I look amazing when I'm playing football in my head. I look great. I'm running fast and I'm doing these little tricks. Get me out there. I'm like, falling over. Crap. Yeah. And in his head, he's like, yeah, okay, I'll just shiv him. That'll be it. I'm out. Thank you very much. Goodbye. But it goes wrong. He stabs him, loses his keys, had to stab him in the face, bit shocked. And then he goes and punches the tyre and cuts his own hand. Cocks it right up.
Yeah. And that's only out of frustration. It's not even like, there's no real reason to do that. It's just like, oh, for God's sakes. He's just like anyone, you know. It's like when your car stops working, you're just like, fucker, and you kick it. It's like, that's not going to help. And all you've done is you hurt your foot.
Exactly, yeah. If anything, you've made things worse for yourself.
Yeah, or possibly even dented the car to a point where you might have actually done some real damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a bit there was a diner scene where he was driving, I think, to the family house, not his family house, the Wade's family house, wherever their name was. And he stopped and had a meal. He had wine there. Would you say that was classed as like the last meal?
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I wondered, because to me it felt like, you know, he had all this money, you know, he'd been homeless for X amount of, you know, years, months, whatever, and, you know, he's to the point where he's scrapping about for, like, you know, penny chews and, you know, penny vouchers for, you know, recycling cans and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's got this big roll of cash that, you know, that he was going to use to pay for a gun. And you're like, where the fuck did you get that from? And then you realise it's something he's been planning for so long that he's actually storing up cash to buy a gun. And then he's got the gun off his friend, got all the weapons off his friend, and then he's spending it all on this, one big meal. I mean, that's the reading I took of it. Though initially, before I remembered he had all that cash, the reading I had was that he sold that car battery because he nicked his mate's car battery.
Yes,
and you see it in the back. And
I think half of that was to stop his mate from coming after him as well.
Yeah, I mean
and getting involved.
That's exactly really what it was, wasn't it? And the whole thing about burning the picture, forget me, keep away, because again, that was all about cutting off further revenge, wasn't it? That by burning that picture, there is no way he can be linked at all to Dwight if it all went wrong. Which is another thing about about the whole thing on revenge, which was the idea of it causes isolation. It cuts you off. Being a victim of this kind of crime, that's traumatized you and not being dealt with. You get this whole thing of he's cutting himself off deliberately, and his last connection to humanity, or last connection to, friends and family and everything else, was going to see that guy and telling him, give me guns, teach me how to fire them, take my photo and burn it. And by the way, here's my yearbook because I don't need it anymore, sort of thing. Yeah. He wasn't coming back from that house. And the more I think about it, he knows that right at the start, and that's the only way to end the cycle of revenge, is to die in that house.
Yeah, and also taking the body back to the house as well, burying the brother's body there as well. That's where the dad is buried.
Yeah, exactly.
So also, if it's found, they'll probably blame that scumbag family for killing their own brother.
Well, there is that as well. Yeah. I mean, to be quite honest though, that house was out so far out in the middle of fucking nowhere. I think you'd be very surprised if anyone found that house with anyone in it at all ever, especially with the light coming off and on remotely forever and a day. That house would probably be derelict until someone just stopped by to drop in some post and smelt it.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of interesting, because that means that in the end, all that violence happens in isolation. So again,
it does.
It just takes the whole thing out of society. Just stops the cycle of revenge.
And that the very last shot as well. That was his postcard being delivered, wasn't it?
Yeah. To his sister, saying that he was on the way to find that guy.
Yeah. Which
now, I mean, how did you guys read that? Do you read that as that's going to start the revenge off again? Or is it just one last remind, was that going to trigger the sister? Do you think? I mean, I know she didn't seem like the person who was going to do it, because she got kids and a family and all that sort of stuff. But do you think? Because to me, it felt a bit like. Have we all seen Watchmen?
Yeah.
Elton?
What the
Zack Snyder film?
Yes.
Or the graphic novel, but let's just say the film for argument's sake. But at the end of that, the whole idea is, there's that big explosion. It all gets blamed on Dr. Manhattan to bring world peace.
Oh, and the diary.
And then the diary appears in that sort of dodgy, and he's going to blow the whole thing wide open and start again. Ruin the plan. And to me, that thing appearing right at the end had that same feel. That
I didn't think about that, but now you're saying it, yeah.
That because he said he sent a letter to her, and it actually comes up twice. Because you actually see him post it and write it, and then you see him ask her if she's seen it,
Yes, in the diner.
in the diner, and then it comes in at the very end, and it's almost like, is that like the the Rorschach diary of this thing that's going to like, oh, thank Christ, it's all over, revenge is done, thank you very much, and then all of a sudden the card appears, and it's like, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah, the more I think about it, it's because all the way through the movie, there's a shot where he's checking the news to see if there's anything on the news. And the brother turns around and says, no, we're keeping it all in-house. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
And, you take two, we take two. That's the way it works. And he finally has broken that little circle that he's kind of his family is caught in.
Yeah.
And now, you guys mentioning it, now that the postcard gets delivered, that is the continuation of the circle starts now. And it's like, you almost had that if you hadn't posted that. And there's that moment where she says, no, you know postcards take longer.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Oh, no.
That's the thing. It's that whole thing of, is that last shot there just to say, remember your brother? Or is it there to say, she's going to get that card and it's going to start it all off again, or it's going to act as some kind of, it's going to start the whole thing off, or it's going to somehow link the police to the actions of what's been going on. Do you know what I mean?
It is. I don't know how it could, but there's some sort of loop that has started again.
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I mean, because the whole film's been about closing off the revenge, taking care of it. It's a family thing. It's gone between them. I mean, it's just I just was wondering whether or not that was kind of the last sort of oh fuck you to the audience. You're not getting the tidy wrap up at the end. You're not getting the all sorted and everything's all nice and tidy now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what films that we've seen where that happens, because I know it's happened a couple of times, isn't it? Where you have the last shot, you're like, oh, nothing's changed. We're all back to square one again, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of it.
Well, it is that whole thing of hold on, no, don't. Oh, nearly. Sorry, my browser suddenly popped up a window, and I'm like, oh no, please don't have sound. But anyway, so I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It was dark. It was a film noir that seemed to take place mainly in daylight as well, which I appreciated. Normally these things kind of all happen in the dark, and it's like bang, 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 flash, bang, bang. Oh God, get over it.
Yeah. I loved this. I really did. Thank you very much, Jim. This was a cracking movie to find, and it's one that I like to be shown as well. Like I said, like Dead Man's Shoes, Kill List, Session 9, that type of movie where it's under the radar, you don't know who's in it, but man, it's a good little adventure that you've got, and it's all in-house as well, if that makes sense. It's all nicely nipped together in an hour and a half. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to read 4 comics before you go in and watch this. Yeah. It's all there. We know that we're at the end of his life, but we don't need to know what happened. We just know it happened. We know it was grim, and we can see it on his face. It's etched on his face. But yeah, I could do with a ton more of these movies. These are the ones I really like. These are the little gems that you pop up every now and again. You're like, yeah, man, check this one out.
Yeah, exactly. As I said before, it's the kind of film that back in the day would have been on a Blockbuster video shelf, or sort of like in the bargain basement, or bargain bucket of like Our Price Video.
Yep.
And you go in there and you go, oh, I've not seen that one, so I'll check it out. It's only a $5 or whatever, and you check it out. Whereas nowadays, if you turned on Amazon, well, it was on Netflix, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the only way you could find it on Netflix,
yeah.
the only way you could find it on Netflix was literally by searching for it. And that's terrible. It's like if, you have to scour through 3,000 kind of, this is Netflix exclusive. This is a Netflix exclusive. Oh, look, this is a Korean...
Tom Hanks has got the new film out. Oh, great.
Yeah, this is a Korean movie with spaceships. You'll like spaceships. Yeah. It's like, no, just let me find a decent film, I mean, it's a shame because this is the kind of film that should get more notice. I think it was very impressive, very impressive. Any other thoughts? I mean, Darren, you've got any additional thing to say or anything you're thinking about?
No, I just like everyone else has said. I like the tone of the film. The way it kind of. It doesn't lead you by the hand, but I think it's one of them films you're going to gather more stuff from a second watch.
Yeah,
it's like I may have got the whole thing about the bullet holes being the bullets from that killed his parents on the second watch. From that, I didn't get it the first time. I just thought maybe he got in some trouble or something in the past. That's what I thought at the beginning of the film, anyway. And then you have this.
Yeah, I mean, is a question. I mean, are you guys going to watch this again? Would you watch it again? Because do you think it would have the same impact the second time round?
Again,
I think it'd be interesting to go back to it a second time because I think there's probably things when you know the shape of the story. There's more you could maybe spot or at least read into. I think you'd gain depth from another viewing.
Yeah. You going to say, Dal?
No, again, it's that whole thing of going back and watching it again to see if you've missed something.
Yeah,
definitely.
What about you, Elton?
Yeah, this is a definite watch again.
Cool.
Is, that moment when you... I know I keep mentioning it, but like Dead Man's Shoes, when you get it, you actually understand, you're like, oh, that's a real good twist that's going on there. You can't wait to show that to other people and like-minded people. And when you present these sort of films to other people that are like myself, who have seen a few of the big movies and stuff like that, and seen a couple of a dribbling of the smaller movies as well. But when you present this and you're the person presenting it, you kind of sit down, give them the DVD, put it down, or sit down there, and you just sit back in your chair, cross your arms, and watch them watch it. And you're like, yeah. What do you think of that? I've shown you that.
Yeah.
And it's one of them movies that you get to show other people.
It's funny enough. That's kind of how I felt going back in the day when we watched Wreck. That's the one I always go back to when it comes to those kind of films. It's sort of like nobody was expecting it. Everyone watched this Spanish horror movie, and it's just like by the end of it, there's people going, "What the fuck?" Yeah. It's just So I'm down with that. I totally get that. Jim, this was an absolutely blinding pick. I think. Yeah. Tippity top.
Thank you.
Cool. Any last thoughts, guys, before we wrap up?
No, I'm done.
I think the other one thing I did like is kind of the fact that the family he was going up against were literally just run-of-the-mill shitheads.
Yes.
They weren't Russian mafia. They weren't Serbian super criminals. They weren't the mafia or the accuser, or they weren't like some super criminal operation. They were just everyday shitheads who every day go out and are shitty to other people and often end up in jail over fucking frankly stupid and bullshit crimes, and deservedly so.
Yeah, and then because there was that whole thing of them saying, Wade Jr. had to go in because I had like 2 strikes to my name, and nobody was going to let Daddy go in for jail time because he had cancer, and it's like, oh my god, blimey! So you're just literally just like, You know, you're so used to this. You've got like a routine. He's like, "Oh, it's your turn." Okay.
Yeah. So,
Makes them irredeemable shits. I mean, I guess thinking about it, is that perhaps the weakest part of the story, because the fact is that they are so irredeemable.
well, I think it's just part of the realism of the fact that they're not the crime family running the town. They're just a bunch of arseholes who just make life miserable for anyone they encounter.
Yeah.
And for stupid bullshit reasons. And I mean, Teresa works for social services. You can tell us that there are thousands of families like this who, frankly, the world would be a better place if someone just gunned them all down, because they are massively toxic. They're not rapists or serial killers or international arms dealers, but it's just low-grade bullshit that's ruining people's lives by the dozen every day because they're shitty to everyone they meet in a low-grade, shitty way.
Yeah.
And it's generational.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst bit. When you suddenly get that whole thing of, oh, yeah, well, dad was shit, mum was a shit, so therefore the kids are shit, and then the kids are going to have kids that were shit, and so, But again, it's the cycle again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it is, and that's something I think is they're very consciously modelled to be like that, not just because of the realism, but it does serve the story, because there is the thing with William, the half-brother, and his role in it, and that's, comes up right at the climax.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that is the culmination of two families, isn't it? That is it.
Yeah.
Them two families are joined by that person, and that person is allowed to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, he's so stuck in the middle that he can't choose between who he's supposed to be fighting, really.
Yeah.
And that's probably about the only ray of hope out of the whole thing, that he's now free of that toxic family, but he's also free of the toxic cycle of revenge that would inevitably come if any of those people in that house has survived.
Yeah. You're right about that family, though. They are the type of family that would just park their car in your space and fucking leave it there to rot without any tax on it as well. And you're like, just move your fuck. No, don't knock on their door and ask them to move. You'll get a shotgun in their face. Don't do that. And it's silly little things that just fuck you off and piss you off constantly. That's the type of family they are. They don't go out their way to fuck you off, but when you question them about it, they'll wave a gun in your face and tell you to fuck off, etc., and then start causing hell in your life. But that's exactly what that bloody family is. Oh, sorry, one other thing as well.
Yeah.
I know it's very cheap, etc., but I like the cheapness in it. But there is clearly one shot on the top of a double decker when the car's I think he's driving to the backwards family's house, and there's shots from inside a window of a double decker because you're following his car, but it's like a crane shot, but not. It's clearly someone going, I want to drive the bus, but I'm going to drive the bus from up here with a camera. But it's good, man. It's getting round corners, isn't it? And you're not supposed to see them corners. So, yeah, it's cool.
And I mean, let's be honest. It's a film that was funded by Kickstarter. I mean, it's not big budget, is it? I mean, and I guess just before we do go, I mean, for a film that was made so cheaply, I mean, I think it did a remarkable job of looking better than some films which have got budgets like 3 times to 10 times the size. The camera work was great. The acting was all pretty solid, and like I say, the story writing and everything just goes to prove that the money isn't the thing; it's the talent behind the camera.
Yeah,
and in front of it as well. Anyway,
yeah,
right, okay. Well, I guess that's it then. Unless anyone's got any last thoughts. Anyone?
Nope.
No more.
Okie dokie. Right, fine. Well, in which case we shall wrap it up there then. So that was Blue Ruin. You can find that on Netflix. And if you do like it, or if you've watched it, or we've not touched upon something, or if you want to just bring something up, send us some feedback in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Or join up with the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. Or, if you want, come and find us on Twitter, which is @BlackDogPodcast. And now it's time for my film to choose. Now, I think I can probably just say that I think we're inadvertently starting a new season this month. We've had Blue Ruin, which, let's be honest, there has a few moments in it which we didn't touch upon particularly heavily, but it just made you kind of go, "Oh God!"
Yeah.
Three fingers and a hand over the eye. Oh no, I can't watch, but I'm watching. But I can't watch, but I'm watching. And I think we might continue that. But this time we might be heading off to the Old West. Yeehaw! With Kurt Russell. Because Kurt Russell, he's lovely old Kurt, isn't he? Gruff old Kurt. And he's fine. And we've got, Matthew, what's his name from Matthew from Lost. Your mate.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I'd forgotten he was in this, yes.
Yeah, what's his name? Matthew
from
Fox.
Lost.
Matthew Fox.
Yeah.
And we've also got, If Wet Chris Pratt, which is Patrick Wilson. We're all off. We're all off to the Old West to find the Bone Tomahawk. Oh yes, which is available on Amazon now. Jim and Darren, have you seen the Bone Tomahawk?
Absolutely not.
Right. Have you heard anything about it?
I've just seen your face when it's mentioned.
Cool. Okie dokie.
So yeah,
that's cool. Right. Okay. And Jim, what about you, sir?
I've not seen it. I've been meaning to see it for ages, as I keep hearing people saying it's good, and then me stick my fingers in the ear not to hear anything else, because
I think
that's what's been recommended to do.
Yes, that is exactly what I'd recommend to do if you've never seen it. And this is to all listeners. I'm not asking you, Elton, because I know you've seen it.
I have seen this. Yes.
You have seen it, yes. And would you recommend not knowing anything about this film before you watched it?
Go in blind. Don't even look at IMDb or any pictures or anything like that. Just go in.
Don't even Google the actual categories, because sometimes you can Google this film and it will come up with a certain type of category and it will give too much away, I think. So just go in blind. So it's Craig Zahler's Bone Tomahawk, as previously mentioned on the feedback by Maniac Cop. So we shall be getting onto that. It's an Old West movie. I've watched it once, and that was actually when it came out back in 2015. And I think I even mentioned it on the cast back at the time. But obviously you remember that. Obviously,
yeah.
Obviously. So, but it's an interesting film, and we haven't had a Western for a while, so let's just dive on in there. So, yes, we will be watching Bone Tomahawk next week, and if you watch that and you want to send him some feedback, all the usual channels apply: Facebook, Twitter, email, carrier pigeon, you name it. And that's that. So we'll see you all next time for that. But before we go, Jim, do you want to tell us what's happening in Hypnagoria Land?
Well, this week I'm paying a visit to the dodgier little brother of the Great Library of Dreams, the horrible house of terrible old Tat, to look at two very, very dodgy tie-in items produced for very well-respected science fiction television shows.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Fine, cool. And that's over at hypnagoria.com, yes?
Yes, and that'll be out this weekend.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And what about you, Elton?
You can catch me in all the normal places over at Road 2 Media, which includes Into the Expanse, Shonky Lab, and the Grand Prix podcast. There's episodes out for each and every one there. So, fill your boots.
Cool. And Darren, as you previously mentioned, you will be on the Shonky Lab, yes?
I certainly will, yes, this week.
Yeah, or whenever
in a couple of weeks.
whenever he
Whenever they can be bothered.
Yes.
There we go.
Lovely. And yeah, you know where you can find me. I'm where you're listening to right now, and I might be on Shonky Lab at some other point in time. And yeah,
But we don't know when.
we don't know when,
No.
don't know where, don't know when, and that's that. So yeah, you can find me on all the Facebook channel, and yeah, you're listening to this, aren't you? That's where I am.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Hello.
Right here. Right, so that's it. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
You're welcome.
And like I say, do check out all the other guys' podcasts, and do check out Bone Tomahawk. And if you do check it out and you want to leave some feedback, do try and leave out some key items in the feedback if you're feeding back on Facebook. That would be much appreciated. Thank you very much in advance. So, until next week when we go and head off to the Old West, take care. Thank you very much for listening. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Till then, tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da. There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. It's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.